we're gonna do two things today. I'm definitely not gonna go through. Armooon has your back. It is, bro. I'm gonna have to go to chiropractic after that. So let's talk about two things. I can keep. Is this good? Let's make it a little bit. I'm important. Let's make me a little bigger and in this corner. So I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. I'm not gonna go through the whole 12.10 patch notes. Most of you guys already know what it's about, anyways. But there's a lot that's changed, and for that reason, we're making a mid lane tier list because a lot has changed. Some have been affected more than others, for sure. If you guys don't know the main things, this is universal. Everyone's base health was plus 70, health growth plus 14, armor growth plus 12, 1.2, armor magic resist 0.8. But that's not even the biggest thing. The biggest thing is all of this, where everyone hates healing and shields. And Riot thought they were going to solve this problem by adding things like Serpent's Fang or Shadow Flame, where you do more damage based on shields, but it didn't work. So they did this, and I think this was a really good idea. So healing was reduced by 10% earlier in the game and 28% later. Shielding was reduced by 10%. Omnivamp was reduced by 10%. Grievous wounds. So this is really weird because healing, shielding, and Omnivamp was reduced. But at the same time, Grievous wounds is reduced. So it kind of balances each other out, and I think that was a really good idea. Because now we're not going to see Aatrox's 1v5ing, healing to full health from stupid things. And Grievous wounds is not going to be as painful as it was before. So I think this was a perfect balance of going through both systems. Now every champion got affected, including my one and own Blood. And a lot of people think these are nerfs, but it's not exactly. I'll only focus on this because I'm obviously a Sylas main, but this isn't that bad. Sylas's heal was reduced, which is obviously a nerf, but anti-heal was reduced. So if they had kept Sylas's heal the same, he probably would have been broken. They had to reduce his healing just a little bit. Now the damage is the same, like I said, but the healing is different. So the other thing that's a big deal is Conquer. So this is like the most basic rune of League of Legends. Almost every champion can go this and will. And it was demolished. So not only was Omnivamp and healing reduced this patch, but even Conquer went from 9% melee / 8% range to 6% melee, 5% range. Personally, I don't see myself using Conquer anymore at all. So, with all of these things said, Triumph being reduced, Taste of Blood being reduced, we are going to make mid-tier list maker. Alright. I think I want 6. I want an F column, to be honest. This is a good one. So we're going to go through all of the mid lane champions and see where we place them for the 12.10, because this changed everything. All of the healers are going to be, they're going to have to do something different. And they're going to have to figure it out. We don't know what that is yet. So starting with Ahri. Ahri she was changed recently. So she's pretty good. She has a lot of dashes, mobility is important, and she's not really affected by the healing. So she's not like the best mid laner in the world, but we have been seeing her in pro play a lot. So she's definitely an A. Doesn't mean she's great. She has really good utility and mobility, but the thing about Ahri is that her damage has never been that crazy. She's not a carry for the game. She's just, you know, if she gets a charm, your team's gonna act on it. But I've never seen an Ahri truly carry a game. An Ahri just enables the team to carry. She's a great champion. She's very good, but you need to have a good team with you, which puts her in the A column. Now this disgusting champion is not going to be affected. I mean, healing, she has healing in it, but it's always about damage. And she's always had really good base stats. So now that her base stats are even better, she's going to be even more scary. Personally, I don't think it matters whether she goes Conqueror or not, but Akali has been my #1 ban for the past few weeks. She is disgustingly broken. And she is, if you want to get to Challenger, you can play Akali to do that. Auction, honestly, I think he's really good. And I think we kind of aren't seeing him lately, but we're going to be seeing him again more because of this. He kind of was really big, then they nerfed him, he went away. But the thing is, his kit is way too good for him to go away. I think he could be countered, and I think he's actually a carry for the game. If you're a good auction, you can carry the game. No matter how much they butcher this champion, dude, that W is just too good. And he's an S, just because of that W. Like, no matter what, if you're a good auction, you are going to carry the game. Now, Anivia, honestly, I think there's a lot of mid laners that are just low-key broken and no one pays attention to. I'm not going to get into Anivia that much, but obviously, she's never cared about healing. Nothing changes for her. If anything, this is a good durability patch because she's so squishy. She was always so easy to one-shot. But now that she gets more base stats, she's going to be even better. I've been watching Froggen. If you guys know who Froggen is, that guy is a god with Anivia. You can carry games with Anivia for sure. The one thing is, she lacks mobility. So for that reason, we have to put her in the A column. The exact opposite reason of Ahri. It was really weird. But she's so high damage and so strong, but without a dash or anything like that, she has to go in the A column. Annie is a one-shot machine. But the thing is, I don't think one-shots are going to be that important anymore. She's basic. There's not really much to her. I put her in the C column because I don't think she's complete garbage, but she's not great either. Nothing really special by Annie. She's broken. Or she's not broken. I don't even think we need to talk about this. This champion's never going to be good. I don't know what this broken column is. I kind of want to delete it because I think broken means good. And I don't know why it's at the bottom. So I don't need that one. We'll just have a garbage. Aurelion Sol's garbage, dude. Even if you're an amazing Aurelion Sol, just focus on being a different main and you'll do much better. Azir, I think, is going to be really good. Mostly because he never even went Conqueror. So who cares about that? With base stats up, if you're a good Azir player, I think Azir's always been good, but his skill cap is so high. And for that reason, I'm going to put him in the A column. The skill cap is just way too high for most people to be good with him. I think he has some weaknesses. Brand, who even plays Brand mid? I honestly never see play Brand mid. If you do, change your main, because he's so easy to kill. His damage is really high, but in my opinion, if you're going to go Brand, just go Brand support. It's so much better. When you're taking a mid lane spot, which the role is so crucial, and you're playing Brand, it sucks. Now, I put him in garbage, but his damage is actually really good. For that reason, I'll put him at an E. Because he does insane damage, but, like, he's just so easy to kill, man. If there's one assassin on the team, you better have Zhonya's. I'm low-key considering putting him in F. This disgusting champion. I'm so glad to say that she's going to be worse. I think she used to be an S in the last patch. She didn't even have healing. You don't even have to go Omnivamp. But because of Conqueror and because of her E, she would literally heal to full health. And thank God, healing and Conqueror has been reduced. I still think she's really good, but I think she's an A now. She counters a lot. Actually, I think she's a B. I think she's a B. Mostly because of her mobility. She has no mobility. She's good. She's always been good. But this patch really butchered her. And I'm happy to say that because I think she was the most annoying champion in the world. Her W is just insane. But without the Conqueror healing and spam, and a few of the items being changed, including Seraph's, she's not going to be as strong as she used to. And I think for that reason, she goes in the B column. Do people even play Cho'Gath mid? I can't say that I have much experience with it. I could see it being okay, but I could also see it being really easy to abuse a Cho'Gath mid and him not having enough damage. At the end of the day, it's probably better to go tank top. So I'm going to put him in the C because he's not awful, but he's pretty good. Corki is going to come back. He's always had high damage, but with the recent nerfs, not the recent nerfs, he was nerfed, but the patch doesn't really affect him. He's always been pretty good. I think because of those nerfs, he goes to an A. I think he'll always be a good mid laner and really annoying, but he's not broken anymore, and I'm happy to say that. Diana used to be a mid laner. I don't know if I'd call her one anymore. She's kind of in the same boat as Echo as we're going to get in here, but they're way better as junglers. They're melee, they get abused, they get poked. You have to have the right team comp for them. And her damage, I think she's a little better, worse than Echo. Her damage just isn't high. So I'm going to put her in the D column. Echo is just a better jungle. When you're taking up a mid lane spot, he's just so easy to counter, and he usually doesn't do amazing unless you pop off with him. So we're going to put him in the C column. Fizz, honestly, ever since the mythic items came out like 2 years ago, no one has played him. This champion just fell off the world. And unfortunately, I don't think any of this patch is going to make any difference for him. It doesn't affect him in any way. He doesn't heal. He doesn't use Conqueror. He's going to kind of be in the same boat, but he's not going to be anything special. I don't think he's particularly bad, like this bad, but I'd say he's in a D column, where these would actually be a better pick than Fizz. Galio is so annoying, and we've seen him in pro play a lot. I think he's a good main laner, but he kind of falls in the same column as these A mid laners, where they're strong, but they can't inherently carry the game. Obviously, his damage is really low. I think in pro play, he's really good, but in solo queue, he's probably not that good. At the end of the day, if you have a good duo partner, you can definitely affect the game a lot. And because of his impact in the game, I think he's honestly an A tier mid laner. And I think he's going to get better even with this patch. Gragas, as we've seen, and I think because of the bounce, he's just not a mid laner anymore. He's definitely a better top laner. And it kind of just goes in the same boat as Cho'Gath, where I don't think he's inherently bad, but it's these top lane picks that would just be better in the mid lane, or sorry, these mid lane picks that would just be better in the top lane. So we're going to put him right here. Personally, I haven't seen many people play Gragas mid, but I think if they did, it wouldn't be that bad. Well, actually, no. He does heal a lot, so I actually think he's going to be here. He's even a worse top laner now as well. Because the healing reduced, and he was really good about being a tank healing, I think he's actually going to be a D now for mid lane. And for top lane, he'd probably be a B or C. Graves is actually an up-and-coming jungler that I've been, or mid laner that I've been seeing. I personally think Graves is just disgusting in general and a very good champion. With these changes, it's going to be harder to survive from Graves, and I think he's actually going to thrive. Well, actually, depending on the build you go, but his healing got reduced. I think it's going to be harder for him to one-shot, and I would normally put him in the A, but because of these changes with healing, he's not going to be able to one-shot you anymore, and he's not going to be able to heal the full HP with one thing. I think he'll still be good. He's definitely annoying to play against in the early game, but he's definitely going to be affected by this. This is a controversial opinion, and I genuinely think Heimerdinger is so good. For some reason, he's just slept on. No one plays Heimerdinger for some reason, and I'm really glad of it. But if he got popular, I would have to put him in the S. So he's falling into these champions, or these two, I would say specifically. I think he has a high damage, but he just has no mobility. Having his turrets helps out a lot, but I think he's really good, and I think he's slept on, but I don't think he's this good. Irelia, hate her. She's probably a better mid laner than top laner because she can abuse mid laners so easily, so well. She's so aggressive. But with all of these healing changes, she's not going to be able to get to full HP with one minion wave anymore. Thank God. Her damage is still insane. I think she's still broken. And Blade of the Ruined King is literally made for her. So normally in the last patch, I would put her at an S, but she's an A for this one. Jace kind of got killed. I don't specifically remember what happened, but I remember there was a nerf. And he's just not that good anymore. Unfortunately, this patch doesn't affect him. And I think he's a C. I don't think he's bad, but I don't think he's particularly good either. Kai'Sa mid is going to come back. And it already has a little bit. She doesn't really care about healing. But her W poke is insane. And her as a mid laner is honestly pretty good. It's like having a Kog'Maw mid, but better. Because she actually has some mobility with her E and her ult. So I think she's good. Not amazing. Not great. Hard to pull off for sure. And her damage is poke. It's not nothing more than that as a mid laner. So I'd put her in the B. I think she's good, not great. Karma, definitely affected a lot. We've seen her in the mid lane a few times. We've seen her in the top lane. But she's almost all shields and healing. Normally, I might put her in the A or B column. But because of all the changes, I would actually put her in the D column. Because she mainly focuses on those kind of things. Karthus, never really thought of him as a mid laner. More of a jungle. If you go mid, I don't really see a point of it. We're going to put him in the E column. Kind of just an awkward pick there. Kassadin usually goes Conqueror. So this is going to hurt him. He does have some healing, but he's not going to be as great as he used to be. I think he'll still be good, And I think you can still one-man carry with him if you get to the late game. For those restrictions, I'm going to put him in the A column. I think he's still good. I think he's always been good, but not amazing. This disgusting champion, for some reason, exists. Now, the good thing is, she normally goes Divine Thunder, and Divine Thunder got nerfed. So, I think she actually falls back a little bit from that. I still think she's really good, but it's hard to have an S tier mid laner these days. We're going to put Katarina in the A. Kayle is better top lane, but if you go mid with her, she falls in the same place where she's amazing. The healing is going to bite her in the butt a little bit, but she kind of falls in the same place as Kassadin, where she can one-man carry if she gets to late game. Unfortunately, that restriction just kind of hits her way too hard. I think assassins, AP assassins specifically, are going to thrive a little bit more in this patch. I know Void Staff got a little bit reduced in the magic penetration, but I think LeBlanc is going to be a great pick. Without healing and shields, she's going to have a great time, and I think she's going to thrive. I would consider putting her in the S tier, but I think for the most part, a lot of mid laners are falling into the A tier. These are definitely the most popular mid laners, and then these are mid laners that you just freaking ban. Lissandra, unfortunately, I don't see much hope for her. She didn't really get affected by anything. I don't think she's going to show up. She's going to be my first spot for the F tier list. Lucian is just a better bot laner. His mid lane is okay, but he kind of falls into the same thing that I would put Tristana in. And I think he's good, but not great. And I think most ADCs just kind of fall in this B column for that reason. They're annoying in the early game, but then they just really don't do that much. Plus, you want AP normally in the mid lane. So Lux kind of falls in the same thing as Brand, but I think Lux is a little bit better because at least she has a slow CC, her poke's a little further, her range is a little further. For that reason, I think you should still play her support if you're going to play her, but if you do play her mid, she's going to be a D tier, just a little above Brand. Malphite, don't understand why he's a mid laner, unless you're going full AP, but you better hope there's not a Sylas on the other team. I think he's kind of like Jason Cho'Gath, where they're obviously better top laner, but he's a little worse, because he has no impact on it. And usually as a mid laner, you want to have sustained damage, but he just has one ability and it's one and done. For that reason, I'm going to put him in the D column. Actually, I'm going to put him in the E column. The only thing he's really got as a mid laner is his ulti. He's not going to do much more than that, and I would definitely rather pick him in the top lane. Malzahar is one of the sleeper champions, in my opinion. I don't know why people don't play him. I think he's amazing. Even if you're 0-10, you have a great ultimate to use, and you're really good at picking. He's a great mid laner, so I think as a mid laner in 12.10, he's going to be good. He never really cared about healing, and I think he never really had any effects with Conqueror. With all these changes, I think he's going to be an A tier. Not an S tier, unfortunately, but an A tier. Nico, don't really see many people playing her. I just don't think her kit's that great in general, and unfortunately she doesn't really get any help from the changes. For that reason, she falls in the C column, where she's good. She's not great, and she's not the worst. Nunu is such a hit or miss. He has such impact on the game, but you kind of need your team to carry you. He's not the best mid laner, and if you do go mid lane with him, I wouldn't even consider him a mid laner because he's just roaming the whole time. For that reason, I think you either win really hard with him or you literally forfeit at 15. And for that, he's going to be in the B column. Orianna is so damn annoying. I think she's always been one of the best mid laners. With all these Conqueror nerfs going away, making it harder for ADC or for assassins to kill her, I think she's going to come back. She's already been seen in pro play a lot. For those reasons, I think she's going to go to the S tier as one of the best mid laners. Pantheon has a really good early game, probably a better top laner, and falls in here. I haven't seen many people play him. Pyke mid, I've only seen one person pull this off, and that's Davemon. That guy's a god. After watching him, I don't even know. I think he's just really good. I don't know if Pyke is that good of a champion, honestly. I think he's just an amazing player with him and understands it. The majority of people would suck with Pyke mid. So for that reason, I'm honestly going to put him in the D tier. Or he did get some recent buffs and nerfs, so I'm going to put him in the middle, because I really don't know where he stands. Kiana is really good. I think people recognize her, but I don't think people know how to play her as much, and I don't think she's that popular. Personally, I think she can one-man carry. With these changes, though, She never used Conqueror, and I think she's going to come back as an S tier mid laner just because how good she is. Definitely a high skill cap. She takes a lot of practice, but all of these S tier champions are all high skill cap. They take a lot of practice, but if you're good with them, you can one-man carry the game for sure. Renekton, I've seen more as a top laner. Okay, so some people think Akali was going to be garbage this patch. You would think, but I think everyone's always thought Akali's bad and she ends up being good. I think a lot of things are pointing to her being bad. I just kind of want to visit this because I think Akali's a really controversial champion in League. We always think Akali's bad, and she's still good. Her damage is just way too high. No matter how much they affect her healing, she's got the Shroud, she's got movement speed, she has so much mobility, she's so hard to catch. And I think even with these changes, she's still going to be an S. So that's my take on it. And I guess we'll see. But every time we think that Akali's going to be bad, she's just still good. Renekton falls into this better top lane than mid. But I'd say he's kind of worse because he's really easy to abuse in the mid lane against ranged champions. So we're going to put him in the middle here. He's going to be hard. It's going to be harder for him to kill people with all the durability changes. They're going to be harder to kill. And he's usually a one-shot machine. So it's going to affect him a lot. Rumble's not really a mid laner. He's more of a jungler. But at the same time, he's not even that much of a jungler. If we're considering him as a mid laner, I'd honestly put him in the E tier. It's way too easy to take abuse. This guy is so good. But only in high elo and pro play. But we're talking about the general statistical things. Ryze as a champion is amazing. He doesn't use Conqueror. He uses Phase Rush. His damage is going to be the same. His damage is going to be higher. He's the mid lane you're going to want. He's going to be an S tier for sure. I already think he was an S tier. But with all these changes, he's going to stay an S tier. And if people learn how to play him, then you're going to be amazing. Ryze will always be amazing unless they just do something to him. Seraphine, the healing was reduced. So that's definitely going to affect her. I don't think she was great as a mid laner to start with. Probably is better as a support. But if we're considering her mid lane, I would put her in the D tier. Singed is... what? Why is he even on this list? I'm just going to put him as garbage. No. I think garbage stays specifically for Aurelion Sol, and Aurelion Sol only... we'll put him as an F. Why would you ever go up Singed mid? Swain is going to be affected a lot. His healing's reduced. Conqueror's reduced. Haven't seen him much as a mid laner. I've been seeing him support more, but even as a support, he's going to be bad. I would say he was average before. Now he's a little bit below average, and he goes in the D tier. Sylas. I know a lot about this champion. I have a great future for him. Like I was saying earlier, I know his healing got reduced, but that just opens up a completely new door. I think Sylas is always going to be relevant. Always. Unless they completely butcher him. And they did hurt him. So I don't think he's going to be an S tier because of his healing. I think he's going to be good in his own way. Unfortunately, because of the new way, he's going to be high damage. And that just leaves him really vulnerable to getting countered. So for that reason, I think I put him in the A tier. I would say before this 12.10 patch, he would be in the S tier. I'm not saying he's bad. I think he's still really good. But I think he's just easier to counter in this new patch with all the healing reduction and things like that. Breaks my heart. But as healing was reduced, you're not going to be seeing Conqueror Sylas anymore. And Conqueror Sylas was really good. I still think he's great. But these S tier champions are just on another level. And unfortunately, I don't think Sylas is in a position to one-man carry. But he can definitely make an impact. Syndra wasn't really affected. I think Syndra was always really good. Unfortunately, because of her ulti, he's just one target and it can be countered by Zhonya's. I think she's great. I've seen Bjergsen pop off with her a lot. But she's going to fall into the A tier because she can't do it as much. So we're hearing Tobias Fate said that Sylas and Vladimir are the most broken champions in this patch by pure stats on mid lane. No. I think Tobias Fate just has a burning passion of hate for those two champions. And more level-headed people who actually understand the game and don't just like specifically hate champions and their kits would understand that. It's still really good. He's an A tier, but not on the level of an S tier. So, Taliyah. Wow. This champion went from 0 to 100 real quick. Her damage is higher. Her E stops dashes. It is so frustrating to play against Taliyah. But She's going to be an S tier for sure now. They made her into such a good champion. Don't think she's broken inherently. I think they finally made her a good mid laner. Armooon, the renowned Akali and Irelia hater. I'm an Irelia hater, but I still put her in the A tier. I don't think she's broken. I think she's just hard to play against. Akali, I think, is broken. I think the majority of us think Akali's broken. I think more people think she's broken than not broken, if I'm being honest. So I don't think that's just me. And I don't think Vladimir is that broken either, but we'll get to Vladimir. Talon. Talon is going to take a hit, as is Zed, as is 80 mid assassins, because of the durability patch. Obviously, it's going to be harder with the more health and the more armor, but I hate Talon. I personally think his kit is really good, but I don't think he's broken, and especially after this patch, I think he used to be an A tier. I'm going to put him in a B tier for mid lane now. He got really hurt by this patch. Normally, you'd want to go Conqueror. Conqueror was nerfed, though. She's just not going to be as strong, unfortunately. Tristana falls into the same place as Lucian, where she's annoying, but she's not going to do anything, and she's better as an ADC. Personally, I don't even think she's that great as an ADC. I think she's a little bit lower than Lucian, because towers are harder to kill as well. And Tryndamere has been coming up a lot lately. Nemesis has been playing it. Pro players have been playing it. Gonna take a hit, but I still think Tryndamere is an amazing champion. Unfortunately, I don't think he's gonna be like the best, and I think he just falls into where most mid laners are falling to, where they're good but not great, not able to carry, and that's where a mid laner should be. Personally, I think in a completely balanced world, all the mid laners should be in the A tier, where they're good, they're strong, but they can't carry the game on their own. That's how League should be. That's how every role should be. Every champion should be in the A tier, where they're really strong, they have their own kit, they have all their survivability, but they can't one-man carry like these S tier ones can. So he's going to go in that one. Super annoying, but easy to counter. Twisted Fate really wasn't affected that much through this patch. He's always been good. Obviously, high skill cap. Kind of falls in the same place as Galio, where you have to be present in the map. He's no means to carry the game, but if you're a god like Faker, you can. But this isn't a Faker chart. This is a mid lane tier chart. For that reason, he's going to be in the A. Has amazing impact on the game. He's not going to really change from 12.10 notes, and if anything, he's going to be a little bit better because he was squishy, but now he's a little easier or harder to kill, so that's good. Broken champion. Unbelievably slept on. And this is weird, and I know people are going to think this is weird, but Veigar goes in the S for me. I mean, he wasn't changed at all from this. If anything, it's going to be worse because now he's harder to kill. His base stats are higher. You can literally go tank Veigar and still one-shot the enemy ADC. Slept on. I hate Veigar. He's just so weird. Like, what is his place in the game? I don't know. They would have to completely revamp this champion for him to be bad. I know he's gone through phases of not being good, but in 12.10, he's going to be good, man. With his early game having more health, more armor, more magic resist, that was like the only time to kill him. Ugh. Sad to see that. Vex. Vex wasn't really hit by this very hard. She goes Taste of Blood, and Taste of Blood was nerfed, but she's not going Conqueror. She's just kind of an annoying AP mid laner. I think she's very good. She has amazing base stats to begin with. She's always had high health, high armor, high magic resist, and now it's even better. For those reasons, she goes in the S tier in my opinion. She's so hard to kill. I can't remember how many times I went full AP Silas, and I can't one-shot her. I'm definitely not going to be able to one-shot her now. Her damage is high, her survivability is long. She lacks a little bit of mobility, but makes up for it with her CC and slows. So for that reason, she goes in the S tier. Victor is really, really good. But he falls into the same trap that Kayle and Kassadin do, where you have to get the late game to be good with him. And for those reasons, he's an amazing mid laner, but not a one-man carry. Vladimir, I never really thought was that good. He's annoying, and I think he's kind of like Victor, Kassadin, and Kayle, where if you get the late game, he's annoying and really strong. But with all these healing nerfs, he's even worse. And for that reason, I'm going to put him one tier below them and put him in the B tier. I think he's okay. I think he's a little bit above average, but definitely not more than that. Xerath, I think is going to be really good. I think he's always had really high damage. He's really strong. This isn't going to change very much for him. Kind of the same thing as Veigar, where he's really squishy, but now he's going to be harder to kill. The one problem is that he's really immobile. I mean, more immobile than others. And for that reason, we're going to put him in the B tier, just because he's so easy to kill as a mid laner. Damage is high, his poke is high, but if you don't have like Zhonya's or Flash, you're just deady. These two guys, well, they would have been affected, but lethal tempo became a thing, and now they don't even care about Conqueror. The healing is whatever. Omnivamp is what got reduced, not lifesteal. So lifesteal is the same. If anything, they're not exactly changed, but they're just gonna have less counters. It's gonna be harder to counter these guys. They've never been focused on healing, and I'm gonna pair them together because I think Yasuo and Yone fall in the same boat. They're obviously very similar champions, and I think they're good. I think they're better this patch, but they kind of fall into the high skill cap thing. For those reasons, I'm putting both of them in the A. I think they're really good, but their skill cap's high, and it's hard to be an S tier mid laner when you're AD. I think Kiana personally is one of the only people that can do it because she's so moving around. Her CC is insane, and they just don't have as much CC. They can pop off, but pop off not that hard. Oh, Zed. Look how they massacred my boy. He kind of goes in the same place as Talon, where if you buy Zhonya's, it's fine. His damage is high, but with all this new changes, it's gonna be hard for him to assassinate people. And Assassin just kind of took an L this patch, unfortunately. So we're gonna put him there. Is Zeri a mid laner? I don't think I've ever seen her mid. And if you do go mid, it's better to go ADC. I'll put her in the D. I don't really see her place here. Ziggs. 2 words. Slept on. He's gonna be better now. He's not gonna have to suffer from those things. I think he's really good, but I don't think he's S tier, unfortunately. He falls into the A tier. Zillion, nothing really changed with him. It'd be weird if he went Conquer with Zillion or any kind of healing. He doesn't have shields and he doesn't have movement speed. He's kind of unaffected. He's a good mid laner, but not an amazing one, and he doesn't have the means to carry with damage. It's more by enabling his team. For those reasons, we're going to put him in the B tier. Zoe. Well, she used to be really good, but she kind of just... Wait, why is there 2 Vladimirs? That's weird. I was going to say I already did that. She's easy to kill. This update's going to help her. I think she used to be a B tier laner, but after these durability patches, she's going to fall into the A. I don't think she's enough to carry the team, because unfortunately she just kind of just does solo damage, so she falls there. And lastly, Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz has high damage, he's not affected by the runes, and he benefits from the durability patch. Unfortunately, his damage is not that high. You have to have a lead, and he has absolutely no mobility. I normally would put him in the A tier, but you're better off just going support Vel'Koz, and we're going to put him in the B tier. And that looks like this looks perfect, honestly, to me. That is all the champions, exactly where they should be, especially Aurelion Sol, exactly where he should be. So, that is the mid lane tier list. If you guys agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, and that's all from me. Peace.